the Lord, be glad, O you righteous.
Sing, all you uprising lords. Rejoice in the Lord, be glad, O you righteous.
Hi there, I'm Roger Jones. It's 30 years since my musical Mary Magdalene was first published and performed. 1990, we brought this musical out and we performed it in Birmingham, gave it its first performance, and then we took it around the UK to various centres, and then subsequent years we took it to Canada, we took it to Israel, and of course lots and lots of churches have used it ever since. And we've still got at CMM the music book and the CD. I thought 30 years on it would be good to catch up with some of the soloists who took part. So I managed to do it on Zoom, and so we've managed to talk to Caroline Finney, who played Mary Magdalene, to Gordon Lee, who played Jesus, and to Kathleen Owen, who played Mary, the mother of Jesus. Let's just join them now as we have this little chat and we reminisce about the past and what it was really like to be on the Mary Magdalene team. Well, folks, we're now looking at 30 years on since we launched at CMM the musical Mary Magdalene, and I've got this incredible crowd with me. You'll see we've got Caroline, who was Mary Magdalene, we've got Kathleen, who was Mary the mother of Jesus, and we've got Gordon, who was Jesus. And first of all, folks, welcome. And lots of people are going to hear this, and some people won't even know what Mary Magdalene's all about. So I'm just going back. I'm going to ask Caroline, with the one who took the leading part. Caroline, what on earth was the musical about?
It was about a woman who had a very bad life experience, who had been rejected by everybody, who had made bad choices in her life, probably because she couldn't do anything else, and how Jesus saved her, how God met her in a crisis situation and redeemed her, accepted her, showed her that she was loved, and changed her life.
Wow, I'm going to ask Kathleen. Do you want to add to that? Is that how you see the story as well?
I do, but because of the role that I played as Jesus's mother, I think when we were doing the musical, that was being a mother of a son actually dug into me as well as it being Jesus, because every time we did the crucifixion scene and I watched the soldiers dragging him up and beating him and then the crucifixion, I honestly can say with my whole heart that I cried every night, and I did not expect that. I expected that over time you would be used to seeing it. I never ever was used to seeing it. It was heartbreaking every night. So I suppose that was my slant on that part of the musical.
Wow, that's astonishing. I remember some people saying that it was actually the wettest musical that we've ever had.
Definitely.
We could hear the audience sniffing, even though in the stage lights you couldn't actually see them. Gordon, what about you as playing the part of Jesus, which is sort of all revolved around you? What's your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, Roger, isn't it? Because having a sort of a musical and artistic creative background, performing has been a part of my life ever since I was little. When I became a Christian, people recognized also that I got that ability to play a guitar and lead worship and stuff like that. But to step up and take a role, to step into the character and do that, it was wonderful, really, because of I obviously relate to Caroline's character, because I was a Caroline in a male form. So the lovely thing to be able to take that part of Jesus, who just continued always taking people where they were and just embracing them with all their warts and all their stuff, and just bringing them through that. And it was just glorious so I felt like I sort of swanned through it every night. I just loved the part because I'm a rescue.
Gordon, you got crucified each night. There must have been
emotion
about that.
Yeah, yeah, that happens a lot when you're a performer, really. But yeah, so no, it was just lovely to be able to do that. It was great.
I'm going to come back to Caroline now because there was one point I know that when you'd got your little girls who were very little then, who are obviously totally grown up now, and I think that they enjoyed seeing mommy thrown about the stage, but I think at times and in an up and downs emotion. There was one I think episode where was it one little daughter used to sing going around the shops about being caught in the act.
Yes, yes. My mother-in-law was rather embarrassed taking her into the local cafe when she used to loud. She was 3 at the time, and it was quite a catchy tune, and small children really liked it. And she sang it quite loudly round the shop, causing great amusement to a gentleman who was a wheelchair user watching what was going on.
Tell us the words.
Well, caught in the act of adultery, basically.
Just imagine little girls
opposed to
caught in the act
shoplifting.
of adultery. So, I mean, obviously that's quite a memory. I mean, have any of you got, would you say, memories of actually being on tour? Because we must have taken this to about 30 different venues around the UK. Are there anybody like to share particular memories of what went on? I mean, Kathleen's already said she cried every night.
Oh, well, Carolyn and I often shared digs, didn't we?
We did.
In all sorts of different situations.
Yes, they were interesting. Lots of different people. I can remember being in Middlesbrough, staying on a farm and being served up a 3-course meal at midnight, which was
So do I.
produced from produce on the farm, which was amazing. Yes, and sometimes we had to share a bed, which was very hot. I remember. Yeah, even though we were used to sharing with our relative, our respective husbands, it was a different experience.
Yeah, we kind of forgave each other if we ended up. Oh no, it's not my husband.
Gordon, do you have any touring memories? Because obviously you toured twice and went on into a ministry that took you around with music. What about your touring with CMM?
Yeah, well, I remember lots of quiche.
Yes.
So,
Salad.
Quiche and salad, yeah. That got dished up quite a lot, in the late evening. So I relate to what you're saying about that, Kath. And sharing a bed, of course. Well, I shared with David Monty Hodge, didn't I? Really, and that's
He was a very big guy.
You can sort of make your own imagery of that if you like, So he's a fairly big guy and sharing a bed with a guy that his size. So that stays in my memory and probably will never go away. But yeah, so I like touring because I love people and I just loved going around. And yeah, you're right about the second time was actually not better than the first time, but I was prepared for the second time.
Because in the first musical, you were Moses and then Jesus in From Pharaoh to Freedom.
Yeah.
So you almost got a bit typecast. So you were Jesus in Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll get the wig out if you like. I mean, my hair was always like this, but no. So the David Monty Hodge sharing the digs, and the absolute kindness of people that do that and put you up. I mean, we met some really lovely people. It was quite a long tour, of course. That was the other thing that struck me about it, because we did it across the Easter season. And whereas the first musical I did with you was split up into 2 separate tours, 6 months apart, I think, as I remember it. So that was I thought that was quite good, because I got to know people better, and again I enjoyed that. But yeah, and you've alluded to actually what happened to me. So the emergence of I can remember speaking to you, Caroline, about my own stuff. I remember doing that, and others. And I think one of the things that strikes me about experiences like this is it takes you out of your normal routine. And when that happens to us all, for whatever reason, it disarms you a little. The mask you wear every day, the person that you are, that is challenged, I think, gently but appropriately, and all of that. And it was a wonderful experience, which just always with me, that those are the moments in which God gets into me better, because I shut up occasionally because I talk too much. And so the whole thing that became Malachi was confirmed in that tour, and
Yeah.
that's quite something, isn't it? Really?
And for those who don't know, Malachi became a mission and a ministry that you've taken really mainly around schools initially, wasn't it? And you followed up your time with CMM with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So very, very powerfully moved by because just before I came on tour, I sat with the new vicar that had come into the church, and he picked up a phone call for somebody that was booking a wedding, and he left his Bible open, and because this phone call just went on and on and on. So I picked up his Bible, and it was open at the passage of the angel speaking to Zechariah about John the Baptist's ministry. And I'd never got John the Baptist. I was one of those people that thought, what's this all about? Why would you need a John the Baptist at the same time as you got Jesus, or a nanosecond before? And there he was, of course, reflecting and repeating pretty much word for word the prophecy of Malachi 400 years earlier about the hearts of the fathers being turned to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, making ready a people prepared for the Lord. And that was my story. So I wasn't ready for the Lord until my heart was dealt with. And so all of that experience, it was great, that tour was, because it just I just came home fired up, and off we went, and here I am 30 years later doing it. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Wonderful. Caroline, as one who was obviously in the lead part and experiencing the ups and downs of it, how do you think, you're looking back now, that story and experiencing the Mary Magdalene story in depth has impacted your life? I mean, there's 30 years to share about, but the particular things that stick out.
Yeah, I mean, it made an enormous difference to my life. I mean, initially I thought I was just going to act a part out, but it changed me. I sort of thought I was doing something for God, but God used it to minister to me as well. And I think if you're acting out that kind of part and acting out the gospel story, you think about it in a much deeper way and engage with it in a different way, so that my relationship with God became much closer, and he used it to go on and change things in my life. I think also I was just astonished that God used me in that, because I hadn't got a great deal of experience in singing and musical productions at all. And I didn't live in Birmingham. He just sort of picked me up and put me in this situation and organised the tour so that before I was even cast in the part, so that I could actually still see my kids quite regularly. That's the way it was organised. So I was just astonished by how God worked in the whole situation. And I mean, it was interestingly, I'd thought, great, I love singing, and God said to me afterwards, no, you're going to go back into being a social worker, which is what my background was. But I think playing that part gave me so much more compassion for the people I worked with, because I particularly worked with young people and people in foster care, that kind of thing. So I think it gave me an insight that helped me professionally for a long time.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course, you act as well as sing, and I don't think you were quite really ready for that, were you?
It was I had to adapt to a lot of things, and I'm not a trained actor, and my background musically was in classical singing, so which was not the style you were wanting, and I had to learn to, be taught how to move on stage when I was singing, things like that. And unlike, I mean, actually, one of the things that came out, actually, my younger daughter became an actor, but I was not taught the skills of how you do these things. So all I could do was use my imagination, which is what I did really, and thought, well, how would this person feel in this situation, and try to do it. Yeah, so it was an amateur attempt, but God was in it. I think that's the main thing.
And it's obviously true that although you probably thought you might have gone on for a career in singing and actually went back into social work, but God always takes you through something in preparation for the next stage, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Kathleen, what about you? What's your looking back, how has this impacted you?
I remember when you phoned me and said, I'd like you to do this role. And I can remember saying to you, are you sure? Because I was thinking, I know I can sing, but I've never ever been asked to walk about and do something while I'm singing. So it, like Caroline, that was a whole new thing. I think I love people. I love being with people. I love relationships, and I think although there was so much ministry in that musical after and through. But what people maybe didn't realise was how much ministry happened within the team, with each other, and the different age groups that we had in there, because we had very young dancers, and then different age groups, and how people gelled and got together and almost made a little family during that time. We were like this little tribe going round, and every day when we would get together and pray, something would be stirred in someone, and God used different people at different times to just be that person to either listen or pray for or speak, and all sorts of changes. And I remember all those journeys in the car when things we would drive around and travel from one place to another. The things would pop up in the car, and I remember a gentleman who was driving us one time, and we ended up we had Peter Lawrence in the car, and we ended up, I'm not sure, Gordon, I think maybe you were in the car that day, but we ended up at Sheffield, and Peter Lawrence went in at the Crook and just said, we need a ministry room, because this man something had really come out during the musical, and he was ministered to on that day and transformed his life with him and his wife and his life future. It seemed just a different, and his wife was saying, he's like the person that I met all those years ago, he's like that man now. So it was always changing, there was something happening every day, and we were building these relationships with one another apart from perhaps meeting all the people that we lived with. So it was a tremendous experience, tremendous. And I shouldn't have been able to go on it, because I just started a degree. And God is amazing, because unknown to me, the faculty leader of my faculty, when I went to see her, thinking, because some people had said, no, you can't go, you simply can't go on tour. I went to see her, and she said, I think it's amazing, I think it's wonderful. We will work around this, because it just adds to everything that you can give in a school. And told me that she'd been doing her PhD, been a backing singer for Harry Seacombe in a little group, and that she had done that, and that it was amazing. So you see, God did all of that and arranged my childcare and all the rest of it. So, and a husband who was prepared to just go with it with me.
Well, I think that's true for all of us as well. Speaking for me personally, I've spent my lifetime touring and having a wife that's always been there to back me. I think for all of us, we've needed our families backing us, and I guess our churches as well. We're going to have to draw this to a close in a minute, but I want to ask each one of you in turn if you could think about what we sang about, the Mary Magdalene story. It was really all about Jesus. What do we think is perhaps the message of that musical today? Because I just want to hold up the music book as a commercial and the CD, because the very recording you made back in 1990, still available, wonderful recording, and people are still performing Mary Magdalene. As indeed earlier on this year with Caroline, we actually did a performance. Didn't know that we were not going to do any more for a long time. But can I think, what's the message for Mary Magdalene for today? Can I start with you, Gordon?
You know, I've just been walking the dogs before we got onto this, and not asking myself that question, because I was just reflecting on it, and the words that came to me were, "Let me see your face, and I have chosen you," and I think that's that runs right through the middle of it for me. Let me see your face. I have chosen you.
What about you, Caroline?
I was thinking about this, and I remembered something that someone I worked with said, that about the children we worked with, that a lot of them would be really surprised to know that anyone thought about them or cared about them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the message, that whoever we are, whatever our experience, God loves us and wants a relationship with us and wants to redeem our lives and change them.
That's wonderful. Kathleen, what about you?
I think one of the biggest threads through it for me is forgiveness, because we can be forgiven of anything if we bring it to the Lord and ask for that forgiveness. And the life that we lead just now, the world that we live in, is not very forgiving. And when you look at the social media culture and people being like completely banned, or it seems like you can't do or say anything and be forgiven for it. It's like you can't go past that anymore now. That's you're cancelled. You can't be there. And of course with Christ, everyone can come and have everything changed and made new.
That is just an amazing message, and that of course sums it up for, I think, what we'd say for all of us. Well, folks, it's been great being together. I suppose I ought to say what's my thinking about it, what's my memory of it. I remember feeling terribly bereaved when we stopped touring with it, although it kept going on after that. We did take it to Israel, and we did performances in Jerusalem and I think Tel Aviv and on top of Mount Carmel. I think later on some of us took it to Canada. But of course, recently, Caroline and I were doing it down in Sussex. So the message of Mary Mag, I think, remains. And well, I just want to thank you all for joining us today. But as we look back, it's not just thanks for the memory. It's thanks for the relationship in which we discovered Jesus amongst us. So bless you all as you keep going with your future directions that he takes you in. So bless you all and thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It's great meeting those folks again. And, you know, we've remained fabulously good friends ever since and done lots of other things together. Well, Mary Magdalene is still available. People are doing it. And I did it recently in Sussex because it's an amazing story. There's Mary Magdalene. I mean, whether or not she was the woman caught in adultery or the woman who anointed Jesus' feet that caused all the ruckus at that party, we've suggested she is. But even if she wasn't, every single one of those people needed the love of Jesus. And certainly Mary Magdalene experienced that. That's our message. About the God who loves us so much, who wants to meet us, whatever's in our past, whatever's going on, whatever situation, he wants to bring us his love, to let him see our face. It's the story of Mary Magdalene.
Let me see your face. Oh, let me hear your voice. Do not turn, oh, do not hide from me. There is no one else who can compare with you. Your loveliness I see, for I have chosen you, will be near to you. I'll stay close by your side to the end of time. I'll always be with you. I love you, you are mine. Let me see your face. Oh, let me hear your voice. Do not not turn, oh, do not hide from me. There is no one else who can compare with you. Your loveliness I see, for I have chosen you, will be near to you. I'll stay close by your side to the end of time. I'll always be with you. I love you. You are mine.
Let me see your face.
Let me see your face.
Oh,
Oh, let me hear your voice. Do not turn, oh, do not hide from me.
there is no one
There is no one else who can compare with you. Your loveliness I see.
For I have chosen you.
I have chosen